Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm joining in with my awesome friend Jenita for Let's Share Our Plant Success or Disasters. This is an open collab. Anyone can join in every week or just once in a while. I've just started joining in with her recently. There's plenty of successes and failures in my garden, I can tell you. And now we're dealing with a hot summer heat. But Janine has a wonderful channel full of wonderful, great ideas how to garden in a small space and how well her garden is doing. So go check out her channel, and now let's go check out what Grandma finally got it right. The black tomatoes and how to know when they're ripe. Now I had a terrible time figuring out how to tell when these black tomatoes ripened up. The first few that I cut into were still green at the bottom, and of course they didn't taste all that great. So I thought this was a failure on these tomatoes. No, they didn't. You have to wait until they turn red on the bottom, not green. Even though the whole top was black and the tomatoes are the size they're going to be, they still weren't ripe. But now that they're red, they are. I cut into them, and this is what they look like on the inside. Now, I was also surprised that they were a little bit different taste on the tomato. They did taste like a tomato, a more mild taste, and they were tasty and they were good. They just didn't have a strong tomato taste, not as much acid in most of the tomatoes I've ever had. But this did have a good taste, a good flavor. So if you wanted a mild tomato taste, this would be a tomato you might really enjoy. I ate them all up, just the two little tomatoes. They were really good. They'd be great in a salad or anything you'd like. You could eat them right off the bush. They're perfect for a nice little nibble because, like I said, they're not too big. And as you see, I ate them all up. So I was going to give these black tomatoes a very bad grade. But if you let them ripen, they're pretty tasty. Now this is a small baby plant I'm going to probably dig up and put in a container and try to sell it or move it to another area in my yard. This plant right above it is the same plant, and they get quite large, as you can tell. So I have a couple of them, so I'm going to dig them both out. This is one. Let me go find the other one. It always makes me happy to see little seedlings come up. Then that way I can dig them up and make new plants in different parts of my yard. As you can see, there's 3 of these. They're not too big yet. Hopefully I can make it for another month before digging them up. It's just so hot. I'm afraid if I dig them up right now, they're going to end up being killed by the heat. So we're going to see if we can wait, like I said, a little bit of more time. I have an area in my side yard that I want to redo, so I will probably put those seedlings over there. As you can see, these plants are quite large, and it'll give some shade to that area and also give something really dramatic to look at. And as you also can see, I do like a lot of plants and a lot of variety. These are different kinds of plants all mixed into the same area. I'm really happy with this little area. It's really nice for my fairy gardens, as you all know. I think you can see that I have a variety of different kinds of plants all growing in the same area, and they have different leaf structures and different feel to the plants. Some of them have flowers and some don't, but I love seeing a lot of variety and texture in my garden. This is where my fairy gardens go, and that's why there's such a variety of different plants in here. Sad to say, my Japanese maple did not make it. It passed away. Just too hot for it, and it died. But we still have 2 more Japanese maples back here that are babies, and I put them in these containers when they were about 2 inches tall. As you can see, they're both growing and they're both doing great. And we will put them in a fairy garden in the next month or so for you can see how pretty. I'm not going to take them out of these containers. I'm just going to do a fairy garden around these containers and it will look nice. I know it sounds like, how could it look nice? But you know, Grandma will make it look nice. We'll put them in bigger containers, put a bunch of grass clippings around, and you won't even know they're in these black pots when I'm done. Now let's go look at our original Japanese maple and see how it's doing. Now we had a failure. As you saw, the one died. Got two that are still going from this year. And let's go look at last year's Japanese maple. Now I grew this Japanese maple probably from like 2 inches, and it was about maybe a foot big when I put it here up on the hill. And that was just a couple of months ago. And it looks like it's probably about 3.5, 4 feet tall now. So it's doing really, really well. I will trim it all up when it gets to be fall. I'm not gonna mess with it right now. I don't want to take a chance of injuring it, killing it in this heat. And the leaves are looking a lot better than they did. They looked a little bit like they were struggling in this heat and this hot California sun. But as you can see, they're in the shade in the sun right now. But in the late afternoon or afternoon when it gets so hot here you can hardly breathe, this whole area is going to be in shade. So that's why I planted it here, because I knew it wouldn't be in sun all day. Because the Japanese maple cannot handle all that hot California sun. It'll just fry the leaves. But as you see, there's a little toasting on the edges of my leaves, but not much, because I have them in the shade. You can't have these plants out in direct sun all day long. They have to have some shade. But my Japanese maple is doing really, really good. I'm really happy how it looks. When it was littler, I don't know if you can see that the branches had like a little red tinge to them, but the older they get, they seem like it sort of goes away. So we'll see how it looks later, but I've always wanted Japanese maple, and they're very expensive. They come in different colors and styles. So if you don't like this one, look around, check out your nurseries and see which one you like. I do like it, but remember, don't have it where it doesn't have some kind of shade some of the day. So I think I have 3 winners on my Japanese maple, and I have 1 failure. So that's not too bad. I'm not complaining because I didn't spend any money for any of them, because they were just little seedlings that I got. So you can always find something if you look around. I know I have a lot of plants in my garden, and a lot of them I spent a lot of money for, and a lot of them I got for free. And a lot of them I repropagated from things I already own and have. So always think of what you can do to keep your garden looking great, and what plants you can plant, and figure out ways to budget your money around a small budget. I allow myself $50 a month for my gardening budget, and some months I spend more and some months I spend less. I just put my $50 in my little envelope, and if I don't spend all of it, I just hold it over to the next month. Right now, because it's so hot, I'm not buying much for the garden because it's just too hot to plant. So that means when we get to September or October, I will have some extra money, and I'm going to probably start replanting my green stalks in September. It'll still be hot enough to germinate my seeds, but hopefully not so hot that they're gonna die. I have to get it through until October. Our weather doesn't cool off until October. In October it starts cooling down, but September will be a very hot month. Right now I'm dying in this heat, and I don't want to do much outside. So, you know, we just do the best we can with what we have. And you can have a nice little garden, big or small, just by thinking a little bit out of the box. Thank you all for coming by today. Thank you for all your kindness.